I am at the Alamo Drafthouse for NOSFERATU. I am a big fan of the 1922 F.W. Murnau version of NOSFERATU, and I'm a big fan of Robert Eggers, so I hope I'm a big fan of the 2024 version of NOSFERATU. Robert Eggers is our most talented recreationist, so I'm hoping that he will be able to put us back in touch with those stuffy Victorian sensibilities that inspired Bram Stoker to write his version of Dracula back in 1897. If there's any contemporary director who can put us back in touch with that time period and the original inspirations for the story, it's Robert Eggers. So I've got very high hopes.
Come to me.
It has been said by others that cinema is an empathy machine, and in the case of Robert Eggers, it is an empathy time machine. He's especially good at taking us back to the way people from antiquity believed, the way they thought, the way they saw the whole world around them. Like in The Witch, he put you in the mindset of colonial era Puritans and made you see the world the way they do, which is to say, everything either possessed by God or possessed by the devil. So when your land stopped producing correctly, it seemed to turn against you. Well, that's because the land doesn't actually belong to God. It's God-forsaken. It belongs to the devil. It was the only explanation they had for things back then. And so he does it again here in NOSFERATU. He takes us back to a time not very long ago, really, where disease was a cause of absolute terror. Disease and illness makes us lose our minds. Remember? It didn't happen that long ago. Remember what COVID did to us? It made us insane. It made us suspicious. It made us not trust each other. It gave birth to all these conspiracy theories. People insisted it wasn't happening. We lost our minds. And it reminded us that disease is anything that causes us to feel unwell. It could be anything. That's the source of the term disease, dis-ease. But he takes it a step further and reminds us what disease fundamentally is a violation. It's a violation of our personhood. And it's not just the bloodborne diseases, it's not just syphilis and plague and that kind of thing. He extends the metaphor a bit and turns disease into things like sexual trauma, into PTSD, into shame, anything that causes us to lose personal sovereignty, especially sovereignty of our own bodies. That's the greatest violation there is. Disease, there's no other kind word for it. Disease and infection is a sort of rape. And he understands that, and it's one of the first vampire movies that I've ever seen that kind of gets that part right. By the way, for anyone confused about why there's this relationship between sex and disease, it turns out, it's been proven just kind of recently, certain viruses like herpes and syphilis actually cause excitation in some of the extremities and some of our naughty bits, and actually leads to promiscuity. So there's a reason why we associate disease with sex. It's how it's transmitted, and it can actually make those who are infected a little more sexual in their behavior. And it doesn't give anything away to remember that what kills the vampire is sunlight, because sunlight is the great disinfectant. I believe a great man once said that.
Supposing we hit the body with a tremendous, whether it's ultraviolet or just very powerful light.
Oh, I'll be damned.